Hi, I'm Veronica and welcome to my channel. Today is the last part of a mini series where I show you that tight hamstring really is not the only issue that is causing the tightness or pain in your lower back. And if you want to create a little bit more of space, mobility, range of motion throughout the back of the legs, you can do it in a much smarter way than constantly trying to just stretch your hams. And today we're actually going to get towards the forward folds, but please make sure that first you watch the previous parts so that you understand what you're doing and you get a little bit of introduction and of build up towards what we're gonna do today. You will need a folded blanket for this practice. It could be higher than this one, or it might be also a firm cushion. So you're going to get to the corner of that firm cushion or the folded blanket so that you're landing with the sit bone on either side of the corner. And that helps you to stay right on top of the sit bones. And then you can move your legs out to the sides. It's not your maximum range of motion here. You want to stay in the position where it's comfortable, where it doesn't pull you when you are here. And the most important thing here is that you don't allow your pelvis to roll back and you don't create that collapsing and rounding. So that's why you need that help from the blanket. If there's a lot of pulling along the back of the legs, you might also place something under each of the knees so that it takes away some of that pressure. But it's not going to be too practical because we will be moving the legs in space. So see what you can do, maybe a little bit of pelvic circling here, so that you really feel that there's a little bit more weight forward ahead of the sit bones, a little bit more towards one sit bone, then you're behind the sit bones, more towards the other sit bone. And that allows you to find a place where you're right at the center. If you ground through the sit bones, that allows the upper body to stay effortlessly upright. You can have a little bit of a support with the hands on either side of you, maybe slightly behind you. And from here, you're going to check how easily your legs slide, and it might be that one leg is stronger or has a greater range of movement than the other. You're going to rotate the entire leg inwards. That means not just the foot and the lower leg, but the whole leg together with the thigh, and then slide that leg forward, and then roll the leg outward and slide it out. So it's in and out, in and out. It's easier on a slidey surface. I would not recommend you to do it on a very sticky mat because it might feel like a really hard work. And see if you can maintain your leg more or less straight as you're doing that. And once you've done that a couple of times with one leg, check how easy it would be to do it with the other leg. Rotating the leg in and sliding it in, rotating the leg out and sliding it out. And stay there. Okay, now you can bring the legs a little bit closer. Maybe you want to roll the legs in and out in a more relaxed way for a moment. And if you need to have your knees bent, keep them as bent as it's necessary for you to stay on the top of the sit bones. And you have two versions of the same movement. One is that when you walk your way forward with the sit bones, at the same time, it's only the sit bones that are walking and your knees keep bending more and more. And then when you walk your way back with the sit bones, the legs go towards straight. The other version of this, and you'll check which one works better for you, is to move with the legs long. So it's as if you're walking, but instead of using your feet, you're using your sit bones. One sit bone moving forward, the other one moving forward. And exactly in the same way, you can walk backwards as well, one sit bone at a time. And we're going to give a tiny bit of a massage to the thoracolumbar fascia. You can have your knees as bent as it's comfortable for you to place the fingers over the toes or over the front of the feet. So here you don't want to be in a place that already feels like, oh, I'm barely touching there, I'm barely reaching there, everything is hurting. No, it has to be a place where it's more or less comfortable to stay. And the heels stay on the ground, and then you're creating movement with your ankles. So you're flexing and extending the feet, and this movement travels along the back line, and it goes all along that fascial back line, including a nice little waking up and reviving the gliding and sliding in that fascia of the lower back area. So you will see which is your place, where you want to, how much you want to have the knees bent, and it's a kind of quite dynamic movement that really moves through you in a rhythmical way. The less you think about it, the less effort you put into that, the better. Okay, and then you can release it, release the legs again. Maybe it's going to create a little bit more sensation along the back of the body as well, a little bit of aliveness in the legs too. And then just for a moment, you can bend one leg, keep the other knee slightly bent with the heel on the ground. And here you're going to rotate your leg out. So you're rotating it so that the outer edge of the foot reaches towards the ground. Depending on your individual anatomical structure, you will have a different range of motion here, but you're going to eventually reach that maximum external rotation that is available for you in the leg. And then you go past the straight leg, you rotate the leg inwards and again bend the knee, creating a kind of circle. So your knee is drawing a circle in the air, and this is a rotation of the leg of the thigh bone around its own axis. And as you go through that circle, there is that one moment when the leg goes past straight, but it's a short moment, so it's not enough to really alert the nervous system. It might that otherwise might consider it as too intense, too strong, too unknown. As it's a bigger movement and it's just a short moment, usually it does not alert the nervous system as anything that would create extra protective tension. And after you've tried that a couple of times on one side, you could try exactly the same thing on the other side. So it's this micro bend in the knee, and you're really waiting for that leg to rotate all the way out. So you're landing on the outer edge of the foot, going past the straight knee before you rotate it in and bend the knee again. This just that movement of the leg. As you can see, the rest of the body stays exactly as it is. Nothing else got involved in that. There's no movement in the pelvis, which is now fixed with both sit bones on the ground. It's just the movement of the leg around its own axis. And then you can have both feet on the ground and create this movement with both legs at the same time, moving outwards. And if you want, you can start adding that little bit, this little short moment when you're bending at the hip crease, so from the pelvis and not somewhere from the lower back, which would be very different. And it might be minimal, it might be really tiny movement, but you're finding the rhythm with that. And it might be that these two movements are kind of very confusing for you, and it's difficult to combine them and then stay with one. If it feels like something interesting for you, you could continue this way. And again, you can relax the legs, which are now quite awake, probably. And the first thing you want to check is that you can really stay effortlessly upright in the center of your sit bones. Ground through the sit bones so that the upper body can rise above it without any extra tension. And if you want, you can create a kind of wave coming through your spine that adds a tiny bit of micro bending at the knees. But the most important thing here, if you decide to do that, is that you're not having any particular goal in your mind other than the fact that you want everything to slide and glide together. You're not doing it with the aim of reaching with your fingers or with your head down towards the floor. Your focus is on what's going on with the pelvis, which kind of tilts forward and backward, and that movement happening along the back of the legs, and spine, which is fluid, kind of wavy motion there. No agenda. And then you can return. If you keep feeling that you're still being pulled backward, your pelvis tilts back, that you're behind your sit bones, you could come back to sitting at the edge of your cushion or folded blanket so that your sit bones are right on the outside of the corner. And here you can start exploring the idea of allowing the lower body to really ground and settle, and finding the central axis of your body from the tail all the way to the top of the head. And you might check how it would be to move forward from the hip crease, even if it's like 1-2 millimeters, what it does, where's that place that is still without pain. And then after going past this comfortable reach where you still have a conversation between the top of the head and the tail, there's a place for softening. You can let your legs roll out in any way they want. And again, you're not creating a very sudden sharp tend to try to reach somewhere, and a lot of tension in the arms or in the head pulling down. It might be a very light, even arch moving through your whole spine, but you're creating a softening through the front and a bit of gentle tug happening all throughout the back. And here, what often works best is a bit of a micro movement, a bit of a sway from side to side. A bit of a wave, a sway. So you're not reaching. Everything is really soft and loose. There's no agenda, there's no goal, there's no aim. You're just checking where the body wants to go. And then you can slowly come back up. Maybe lean back for a moment. Feeling a bit more of that opening along the front. Thank you. Thanks for watching. And if you would like to check other videos where I give you tips about the back tension or pain, you can check, for example, this one. And I also invite you to download a free short audio recording, First Aid for Help, which helps you to deal with pain as it happens through shifting your awareness. You can download it from my website, and I will post it in the description below. See you next time.